Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about just how to inspire and motivate you to be a better person. But today I'm not going to be by myself. I'm going to be bringing on a guest, Anna Brook. Anna Brook is going to be a life coach who's helping people get into the state of mind that they have the power to save their own life. And I remember when I was still in school, I still went to Planet Fitness when they had real weights, and now it's kind of just a commercial gym that has machines. So I don't go to Planet Fitness anymore, and they don't have heavy dumbbells, and I need heavy dumbbells when I go work out. But besides the point, I met a lot of great people at Planet Fitness, just during my time in high school. And it seems like when you're young, you just attract these older wisdom folks where they just have so much wisdom and they just want to instill it into the younger generation. And people would come up to me, my brother at the time, and they would say, hey, this and that, and, you got to do this. And so they were just giving us so much advice, and I appreciate everything. I remember just one time I was just talking to a individual in the gym, and he says, oh, what do you do for work? I said, I was a teacher. And he said, well, have you ever watched the movie Waiting for Superman? I said, no. And he says, every teacher should watch that movie Waiting for Superman. And I said, okay, let me watch it. So got the movie. I watched it. It's an older movie, actually. So it was kind of like bad pixels. It was like 720p. Like my last podcast was shot in 720p because no one told me. But guess what? We figured it out. Now we're in 1080 again. Eventually we're going to be in 4K. That's as good a way it's going to be. So he said to watch this movie Waiting for Superman. And I was just thinking in my head, Waiting for Superman, what can that be about if it's supposed to be about teaching and education? Well, the movie was talking about how people in inner city schools were trying to get into charter schools or trying to get into magnet schools because the public schools were no good. There's a lot of danger. There was fights and stuff like that. The education wasn't as good. The teachers were doing their best job. It's just that the environment wasn't the best environment. And if you remember, I think like episode 270 something, we talk about behavior and environment. This is the perfect example of that. So if you haven't watched that episode, I encourage you to check out that episode. But we're talking about behavior and environment. So the behavior wasn't appropriate and the environment wasn't appropriate. Sometimes our mindset can be that bad behavior and bad environment. And what we need to do is we need to get out of that way of thinking. How do you get out of that way of thinking? Anna and I have a delightful conversation on how to get out of our issues, how to overcome them, because sometimes we can be the villain in our life. So are we going to wait for Superman to come save us, or are we going to take action and be the superhero in our life? Let's find out with Anna and myself. Welcome, Anna Brook, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on. Today, I'm going to be having you on as a life coach, and you do just more than life coaching. You have a podcast, a wonderful podcast. So I want everyone to check it out. I'll put those links in the description box below. We're going to get to that later. But you inspire and you motivate people. And in our world today, that's what we need. We need more inspiration. We need more people to understand what motivation is and then look at their potential, look at the process to get more in their life. And the secret juice to that. You know all the secrets, all the tips and the tricks to help people take more action in their life. Without me telling your whole biography, please tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them.
Sure. So let me introduce myself. My name is Anna Brook. Right now, what I'm doing mostly is coaching people in my, one-on-one coaching. And also I have my own podcast. It's called Intern. And I started it around 7 months ago. And that's the intention to share the stories of other people who struggled with different issues in their life and they overcame it. Again, we are talking about mental health and how it's important in our daily life and how it brings us to a different level of personal development. All of the different topics touched upon when I talk to others. And my intention is to bring that ideas to light so people can get insight for their own personal development, because that's what's important. For us to listen of what matters, and with us sharing our own personal journeys, how we became stronger on the other side, That's what people need to hear. And the more people start sharing, the more they feel better and the more they can inspire others as well. So we need to see that it's possible for us to become that best version of ourselves. But again, it takes different time for each one of us, but with us knowing that it's possible, that's what matters. And I always focus on bringing these topics to discussion when I talk to other people and when coaching my clients. I also try to understand what exactly keeping them stuck in where they at and where they're trying to get to. First of all, they need to understand why are they not moving in certain direction and what prevents them to moving forward. And that's important to look into because ultimately the journey is inwards. So we have to look into our own true nature and what exactly is we're struggling with. And we have to name those type of emotions, how we're feeling and what exactly happening and why we came to this point where we realize that something is not right, something is off, and I feel it, and I need to let it go. And sometimes you need help of another person that could hold that safe space for you in order for you to see what's going on, because you need another perspective on what you're thinking. And with you being stuck in that pattern of negative thinking cycle, you don't see it usually. Either something has to happen for you to see, or once you start talking and somebody reflecting back to you your own words, that's how you realize this is exactly what I needed to hear. That work is important, and I would advise every one of us to prioritize our mental health to the point that it has to become like a daily practice for us to check in with how we're feeling, what are we thinking about, what do we want in our life? And again, it starts with taking responsibility of what we have right now. If we look around and see where we're at, what we have, what we do, and that's of our own creation. And if we realize that, that's where we take that power back and we own it. And we know that from that place, we can make a change.
I definitely agree with we do have to focus on our mindset when we are trying to push in our life, because sometimes we can hit a roadblock and we don't want to go over that roadblock. We just say, oh, there's a wall here. Oh, there's an obstacle in my life. And then they don't want to take action to overcoming that hurdle. And you said something amazing in the beginning, right? You help people overcome issues. I find that every coach has a different style. I have a very unique style too. I don't know how many people can mimic my style, but it is very hard to mimic. You can watch me for all day long, and you probably can try to mimic my style, but it won't even be a fraction of what I can do. And I find that everyone has that special sauce, is what we were talking about early on, that special sauce, how they serve the process and the deliverance of our coaching to our clients. I wanted to get your perspective on, or your secret sauce on, how you help people overcome their issues and your methods and your processes.
Sure. I would advise certain practices that people can start incorporating, and that starts with them putting it on paper, usually, like start some kind of journal or notebook where they keep those thoughts writing. And also every single day they have to find something that they grateful for as a gratitude journal, and the journal that they would just put their thoughts down to the paper and look at them and start questioning what exactly is going on in their mind. And with us bringing that to light, we look at each statement and really start questioning, is that really true? Is that really true what you're thinking? And how do you know for sure that it's true? If you say yes, how would you prove it to yourself that it's true? Or maybe it just, you acquired it as something in the past, some kind of experience that you had in the past, or trauma, or any certain like encounter with another person. And now you still continue thinking the same way. Maybe it served you at some point in life and it helped you in a way to protect yourself. But now, you still keep thinking the same type of statement as if it's true, and you started to believe in that. So the problem is to keep certain types of belief that really are not true. And with us not realizing that they're still there, they still run in our life on the background. If we don't catch and find a way to question those statements, because usually beliefs are just thoughts that we keep thinking and we think that they're true. And I realized that we can choose thoughts that really benefit us, and we can replace them with the ones that no longer serve us. That's where we can find that new shift that could happen. And it's very important to switch from old pattern of thinking to the new one, because then we know that at some point of life, this is what I thought was true. Now it's no longer serving me, and I'm ready to let it go. I know that right now I'm not at the point of time where I could accept it, and I will replace it with something more beneficial for me. And you write that new statement for yourself. And now look at it and see if you believe in it now. And the more you kind of start thinking about it, the more you feeling, and you have to also attach it to a certain feeling. So with that new statement, it should bring you a certain feeling of the person that believes in that. And the more you do that, again, on a daily basis, it has to be consistent, not just once you thought about it, but you have to keep doing it as a practice. And the more you start kind of trigger those feelings with a new type of statement and beliefs that you wrote for yourself, the person that you want to be, now you start even acting differently because you're becoming that person. So you are in the process of becoming that new version as you decided to change. But it all starts with your decision. And again, nobody else will make you do that but yourself. You have to come to the point and conclusion that I'm ready to let it go, and I'm ready to replace it with something more beneficial for me. And I know what I want. Another thing, you have to know what you want. How do you see yourself? What is your own vision of yourself in the future? But that future you can bring in here right now with your practices that you do on a daily basis. And again, setting up time for your own mental and physical health is important, because we don't usually prioritize that, and we are getting lost doing something on automatic pilot, working, we're always stressed, and we're not really conscious or mindful of what's important. And we usually think this is something I can put aside maybe when I find time for it. But no, you have to put it like a schedule every single day for a certain amount of time and do it, not just talk about it, but really start doing it. And that's where you're going to see change and result for yourself. But you have to be committed to that process because it takes time. It's not overnight.
Yeah, you said so many great things there, because we tell ourselves sometimes a lie where we can't do something, we're not ready. We look a certain way. So we give ourselves those negative self-doubts. And if you tell yourself a lie long enough, it becomes our truth. But the process of journaling, when we're writing things down and we're going through our thoughts, we can see it for ourselves now. Is this really true, right? Asking that question, is this really true? Yes, it might be true to me today, but is it going to be true to me in the future? And we can change any of our thought patterns. They're just habits. So if you are in the mindset of always being just pessimistic, right? Something bad is going to happen to me. I don't deserve this. My life is so hard. I'm a victim. we can change that mindset around. We have to look at the beneficial aspect of mindset rather than the mindset that's keeping you stagnant, keeping you still, keeping you where you are. Because most people, they want good in their life. Most people want to make some changes. Most people want to be a better version of themselves. I always find that it takes some time. It takes a journey because it's not as easy as, all right, I'm going to change. All right, I'm going to, write down some things. I'm going to start changing my beliefs and talking about mantras. It is a commitment. We do have to commit to that, because when we commit to that change, then we start to see that things in our life start to fall into place.
Definitely. And that commitment starts with you, with your decision. You have to make that choice. But again, you have to follow up with what you're saying. And it's important to take action. And sometimes people overwhelm themselves with the big goals, and in the end, they procrastinate and they don't do anything. But it's better to break it down into small incremental steps towards that goal. And knowing that you're going to do it and you have time set up in your schedule to do it, and with you taking those steps towards that direction, it's your own evidence for yourself showing that you can. Because a lot of times people also lose confidence in knowing that they can do it, and they start looking for different types of, I would say, excuses why they cannot. But again, if you just break it down into small steps, that would be easier for you to take that action. And that would be enough evidence for you to know that you can. And actually, confidence, it's built over time, because you're going to show yourself that I just did it, so I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And that step could become longer. And then you see that after a while doing it, let's say in a year from today, you could be in a different place. And sometimes we underestimate how much could be done during that time.
Yeah, it's like, why even bother? Sometimes it's the mindset that people give themselves. Like, why even bother doing this? Because it might be a journey. It might be a very long time for you to see results. For example, let's use working out. So if you're in the gym working out, and I'm not even saying you have to lift weights or run on the treadmill, it could just be like working out is walking around the block or something like that, just adding a little bit more movement into your life, where you might not see the results in a week, maybe even in a month. But if you stay consistent and you do what you say you're going to do every single day, you're going to find that in maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, that you start to see some subtle changes. You start to look in the mirror and you say, oh, wow, like I'm like a different person now. Yes, on day one, we have a hard time seeing it. But if we look at the 6 month mark, we say, wow, we made some great improvements, some great progress. And that's what happens in the coaching process, because on day one, you're going to go meet your coach, work with your coach. You're going to get so many ideas. You're going to get so many formulas. You're going to get just so much great advice that you have to implement. And it could be overwhelming too. But if you have a great coach, you're going to find that it's going to be a easy process for you to just step by step by step. And that is so important there, because the micro stepping, as you said, right, breaking it down to the smallest step possible is what the subconscious mind loves. And if we can make it approachable to the mind, then we can make it approachable in our own life. So we can make any change we want. Day one of coaching might be a little bit scary, because you're like, what am I going to get? How much work do I have to do? And you might find just after month one, all right, I did it. I made it. Month three, look where I am. Look at the progress. And I love working with people. And on day one, I tell them who they are. This is where they are. And then on month three, I say, look how far we came. You did that. And then they look back, because it's almost like something that they don't pay attention to. And they're like, you're right. And that is so powerful, to give them that understanding that they're doing this, but they're doing it with guidance. They're doing it with a mentor. They're doing it with a good coach.
Right. And I like how you said that you're reflecting back to them what the progress is, so they can see for themselves. Because sometimes even if we achieve something, we don't take time and kind of acknowledge that. We have to even acknowledge small wins and reflect on what we've done so far. And again, it will give us more encouragement, and it will show us the evidence that we did that progress over time. And it took us this amount of time, but there's the result of my effort, my time that I put in. And if I continue doing it, I could progress even further. Again, it's important to reflect on what we did, having those goals set up, but knowing that could take time, and also like not comparing yourself with others, because for you it could be a different path than with another person. And also knowing that having my own unique skills and abilities and gifts that I'm here to share with others, that person could have their own unique gift. And we're not really comparable in that sense. For us, it takes different time to achieve certain goals in life. And maybe for you, it could be a year, for another person, 2 years, but that's okay. We're not trying to compete, but eventually we're going to get to that place. The important part is to stay consistent and committed to what you want in life, and knowing exactly what you want, having that picture in mind, and always reminding yourself why you're doing that. You have to know why, because again, the motivation should be internal, not external. Nobody will push you enough to do it. You have to have that desire for yourself, knowing that I'm all in and I'm going to continue no matter what, because there could be good days and bad days. It's easy when you feel good. But if you feel down, it's easy to give up. With you continuing in that journey, you have to motivate yourself internally.
It's the idea of giving ourselves that why, right? Giving ourselves a reason to push even when we don't feel good. There's days when I wake up and I'm like, I'm at 50%. I just have to figure out how I'm going to get through the day, those days. But I do. And I push and I say, I'm glad I gave my all. I know that I was talking to someone and they were saying that on days you only have 50%. If you give all 50%, you gave 100%, where that is right. But then at the same time, I always give myself the idea, if you're at 50%, how can you get to 100%? So what do you have to do in your life? What type of modifications do you have to make in order for you to get back to that 100%? Yes, give every ounce that you have every single day, but understand that if you're operating at a lower efficiency level, how can you raise the bar? And typically when you get a coach, that bar is automatically raised. It's like, hey, we know you have so much within you. We're going to bring that out. And I find that when a coach becomes a coach, it's not because they want to become a coach and they're like, I'm just gonna be a coach today. I'm just gonna be a life coach today. It's because they have a profound why, like their reason for being a coach. And I know you inspire and you motivate people, but I wanted to get your understanding or your why, your purpose to why you're a coach and why you want to help people.
My why comes back to why I'm doing it for myself, because everything starts with your own personal development first. And when I was working, I've been trained as a pharmacist, right? So I worked as a pharmacist in the retail setting. Eventually, I realized there is something more. I have more potential to help others and impact others other than just being a pharmacist. I mean, it's a good profession, but still kind of like limited to what you can do in terms of interacting with others. And I always remember my highlights of the day were when I had a chance to consult patients on their like medication therapy management or other questions they might have. And I see how I clarify for them and break it down, like how to resolve some kind of issue what they had at that moment. But also it kind of reflected back to me that I'm good at helping others and interacting with others and connecting to people. First, I started looking into my own abilities and skills and what I can do to improve myself personally, professionally. And then when I came to the point where I realized I have more to give, I have to channel my energy into different direction and utilizing that into for our own benefit, for the benefit of all. And also, I'm kind of motivated personally to see the power of the mind. I know that we just don't know how to use it to the point where we can just become so much greater than we are being in the present right now. So every one of us here for a reason. Every one of us has a purpose to serve. And if only we could tap into that potential more, we would not only bring out that benefit for ourselves, but also it's going to create a ripple effect with other people. And we can create that different type of culture and society that we'll live in. So on a bigger scale of things, I believe that I could create that ripple effect. And I want to see us to live in a better society. It all starts with you. And when you are investing in yourself enough that you see yourself growing, you can also spread it to other people. You can help others to grow as well. And for me, that's my why. I see myself being a catalyst for change for other people. And I want us all together to live in a better society that we can. And I know if only we could use that power of our mind, if people would know and practice it, then we're going to find ourselves living a different life.
Your why is so powerful. It's the act of service. It's the act of understanding that we have so much potential. We're omnipotent, and we should take that power and we should grab it, not just kind of let it go by. And most coaches are not just coaches because they graduate high school and they want to be a coach. They're typically people who have started off in a career, as you did with, pharmaceutical, and they realize that there's something else to life. And that is such a great mindset. That's such a great realization that many people, they fall into, and they understand that my life has more meaning than this. And I love working with people. What I'm doing is creating a ripple effect. What I'm doing is making a change and a difference in the world. And that's what we need. We need more people like you, Anna, who are just helping people understand their power, understand that they can be more than what they are right now. They can change their life. They can change their mindset. They can change their circumstances, their mentality, all the things that they might be stuck in right now. And our conversation is just a start. This is the introduction to who you are, to what they can become. And as we begin to wrap up, I would love for you to give us some last words and then to tell the audience where they can find you.
I want people to really think about who they can be in this life. Just for a moment, just pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and imagine yourself living the life that you want. Just visualize for yourself who you want to be. What do you want to do? I usually tell people to imagine their ideal day that they would start with. So your day, how would it go? When you wake up, what you do during the day, how you end it. And that's your ideal day, something that you can do. Like you don't have to look what you have right now. You don't have to look who you are being right now or what you're doing in terms of work, but just anything. If we say that there is limitless possibilities in this universe, any possibility for yourself, who would you want to be? And with that picture in mind, know that you can bring yourself to that place. It could take time, it could take effort, but knowing that it's possible and that's another possibility for you to live in, that's where you should start. And again, working towards that direction will take time and effort and commitment, but that's the start, and that's the spark that you need, because you need to have something in your vision, something that you strive for in order for you to start moving. And like we all mentioned today, we're going to start with that, but then taking certain steps towards that direction as well. That's something for us to think about. And again, beliefs are so important. If we believe we can do it, we are right. If we believe we cannot do it, we're also right. But that's your choice. What do you choose to believe in? That's something we need to think about and take it seriously and prioritize that, because nobody else will come and rescue us. We are the ones who are supposed to do the work. And sometimes the journey is lonely, but we're the ones who's going to bring us to that place where we want to live in. And for those who would like to connect with me, they can find me either on Instagram. It's A Brook, ABROOK 1111. Or I also have the podcast. It's called Intern, INTURN. And that's on Apple or Spotify. I also have a YouTube channel as well. It's the same. The handle is at Intern Podcast. And I also have Instagram for it as well. It's Intern Podcast. Love to connect with you. Just message me, and if something, we can just get in touch. It was a pleasure being on your show. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm definitely going to put those links in the description box below so people can easily find you, check out your work, your podcast, follow, like, subscribe, do all those things to your videos and your content, because what you bring to the world is more than just inspiring and motivating people. It's helping them understand their true potential. And you're right, no one is going to come save us, but we do have that ability to take action today. Some action you could take today is going to Anna's channels, her social medias, and following her, subscribing to her, and then maybe even reaching out to her to begin that process. Because yes, you don't have to go on that journey of life alone, because it is lonely. You can always get a coach, you can get a mentor, you can get a guide who's going to be there to facilitate your growth. And that's going to be one of the best investments that you can ever make in your life. I want to thank you so much, Anna, for coming on, spending some time with us today and talking about the work you do. All right, everyone. I would like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Anna Brook and myself. As you can see, she is a life coach. And I do want to also say one more thing. I find it amazing when someone who is learning a second language or English as their second language can come on and just express themselves, because it is difficult to learn a language. I've been learning Spanish probably for the last 16 years of my life. I know how to understand it, write it, but when it comes to speaking it, I'm missing that confidence part. I need to be more confident. Yes, I'm a mindset coach. Yes, I help people. But when it comes to languages, that is not my lane. That's not my aisle, because I understand something about my mindset. If I want to learn a language, I need to be in total immersion. There's no way around it. I need to have no other option. For example, Monday through Friday, I tell myself in my brain, there is no option to not go to the gym. I need to do that with a language. And Anna was able to come in, learn English. She speaks Russian as her first language. Now she can speak English to present to the audience, to present to you what she does and how she helps people. And that's powerful. Not just powerful that she can learn a second language, but powerful to show you something about her mindset, about her resolve. Because learning a language is not easy. Ask yourself, do you know a second language? Maybe you do. How many people do you know that don't? More people don't. Especially here in America, it's going to be one of those things where we know English, we know one language maybe. But if you are going to immerse yourself into something, things can change. Just how I can immerse myself in a Spanish culture, a Spanish language, I will learn it. Sometimes we have to immerse ourselves in personal development. Sometimes we have to immerse ourselves into goodness, into positive natures and mindsets. Because when we do that, we're going to find that we are making great strides in our life. We're making great strides in who we're becoming. It can be very difficult for us to take action by ourselves. We talked about it. You can go on this journey of life alone and you can say, you know what? I don't need a coach. I don't need anyone. It could be lonely. It could be difficult. It could be challenging. And especially when you're the only one holding yourself accountable, do you have the discipline? Do you have the routine? Do you have the mindset for it? Some people do, some people don't. Some people can make it, some people can't. Now, everyone can, but the fact that they can't is just a mindset. The limiting beliefs that we give ourselves, the obstacles that we give ourselves, we can change that around today. We can change that around whenever we want. The issue is, how bad do you want it? People think confidence comes Whenever they, need it, boom, I'm going to be confident when that happens. But the process of confidence comes after the action. So you're not going to be confident in the beginning when you get a coach. You're not going to be confident when you're filling out a bunch of applications for a job. You're not going to be confident when you get into that relationship or get into a new position where you are learning something for the first time, or you're experiencing something for the first time, or you're with someone for the first time. That right there is going to challenge who you are, who you're becoming. How do you know you're becoming the right person? Well, you have to figure out, am I living the life that I want to live? Am I waking up every single day and I'm excited to get out of the bed? I can't tell you how many people I work with where we're just talking and they say, it's very hard for me to get up in the morning. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, it's very easy for me to get up in the morning. What is the difference between them waking up and me waking up? For me, I give myself a purpose. I gave myself a driver where I say, this needs to happen. I need to do this. There's no other choice. It's a very strict mindset here, but you don't have to be that strict with yourself. You can tell yourself exactly what you want. You can make your life as easy and as comfortable as you want, or you can challenge yourself every single day. How do you want to live life? And I think that Anna's ability to inspire and motivate people is going to be the key to many people reaching new potential in their life. We want to get new goodness in our life, new benefits in our life, new happinesses in our life, but we have to take action. And today the action could be reaching out to Anna. Heck, heading over to revenconcepts.com, checking out some of our free material, getting yourself a free consultation, whichever it be. But take the action today to say, you know what? I think I'm going to just take the first step. And the first step might be scary. It will. But after that first step, you become more confident. When a baby is learning to walk, they're, afraid to take that first step. But once they learn in their mind, I took that first step, nothing happened to me. Let me take one more. And then before you know it, they're running across the living room and you're trying to stop them before they knock over the plant tower. That's what happens in my house. We have that ability to take those baby steps, to take those small micro steps and make them something big. You have the opportunity to make big changes in your life. Start today. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com. And I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.